Hey, it's Belle here, and I'm so glad you're tuning in today for the first episode of the year. And I want to ask you, are you feeling a little stuck? So maybe you're feeling a little unmotivated or a little flat, or just like everything is piling up. And if you are, I get it. And it's tough. And I want to talk to you today about getting unstuck and why I think that motivation is overrated. Many clients that I work with or friends that I talk to, they quite often say they're going to wait until they feel motivated to do something. But what if motivation isn't the answer to getting yourself unstuck? And I know that it can sound crazy. I mean, we all wait and think that we need that burst of energy or we need that holiday, which will give us that fire to get things moving and moving in the right direction. But motivation is overrated and it's unreliable and it's fleeting. It comes and it goes. And it's not something that we should rely on, but quite often we do. And I want to talk to you today about something that hopefully will shift things for you. And what I want to talk to you about is clarity. When we talk about clarity, it's my strong belief that clarity beats motivation every single time. And let me tell you why. There are quite often days when we look at our to-do list and we feel like we've got so many things on our list and we feel overwhelmed. And we tell ourselves, I'll do it once I feel motivated, or I'll do it once this is out of the way, or I'll do it once I've had that break, or I'll start it next week. But the thing is, it's not motivation that allows us to do that. It's like that one friend who says they're going to show up, but they never do. So we're left there waiting, and we're left there hoping that motivation will show up once we create the environment for it. And that will give us the push that we need. But it doesn't. And the reality is that motivation doesn't just appear because we need it. It doesn't just come when we want it most. In fact, sometimes that's when it shies away. And it definitely doesn't show up when our mind is cluttered or when we feel overwhelmed or with everything that we quite often have on our plate these days. And that's where clarity comes in. Clarity is something that we can create. Clarity is something that we can lean on. Clarity is something that we can really dive into and think about. So clarity isn't dependent on our mood or the chaos around us. It's about us getting really clear on what matters, on what's really important, and focusing on that. Because when we can focus on that, it's much easier to create space. So it's clarity that is the game changer because it cuts through that noise and it helps us to make decisions without being overwhelmed. So I know for me, when I'm feeling stuck, I don't wait for motivation and I don't sit around hoping to feel like doing something. When I'm feeling stuck, it's often because I don't have clarity. So what I do is I ask myself, what is the one thing that I can focus on today or in this moment that will make everything else easier? And I try and get really clear on that. Now, this took me a long time to figure out, but it's a question that's been a game changer for me. And it's a question that I'd love you to start asking yourself in those moments where you feel stuck or where you feel overwhelmed. Because when you focus on just one thing that will move the needle forward, all of a sudden, everything else begins to fall into place because we have perspective. And then the weight that we're carrying, it doesn't feel as heavy. And we don't feel like we have to do everything all at once because we've worked out what is the most important and we've started to make intentional moves that will guide us in the right direction. And that's when our momentum starts to pick up. So let's talk now about saying no for a minute. And this is really big. And it's one of the most powerful ways to create clarity in our life. And once we've created clarity, it's much easier to see what we need to say no to. And we've all been there, saying yes to too many things, overcommitting, and before we know it, we're overwhelmed, we're burnt out, and quite often we feel resentful. But by having clarity, we're able to say no more easily and without guilt because we know where we're heading and we know the reason why we're doing that. And this comes down to protecting our time, our energy, and our well-being. So when we say no to things that aren't aligned with our priorities, we say yes to more of what really matters. And as we head into a new year, it's really important to look at, where do I need to get clear and where do I need to say no? Because by saying no, we then say yes to our goals, to our needs, to our peace of mind, and so much more. And that's what clarity gives you, instead of waiting for that momentum. But first, you need to learn to say no. No to yourself, and no to what your mind may be telling you to do that is not helping you move forward. So no to distractions, no to what doesn't serve, and no to leaving your own lane, and then no to others. So I want you to think about now, where are you giving away control right now? Is there something on your plate that you could say no to? I'm sure there's quite a few things, and if I think about mine now, it's the same. Is there a boundary that you need to set so you can reclaim some control over your energy, which will give you back more time? So remember, control doesn't mean being rigid or being or wanting to control every outcome. It's about taking charge of how you respond to situations, and it's about choosing where to put your energy and saying no to things that do not help you. So when you can get clear, you can take control. And when you can take control, you can begin to move forward with intention. And that's then when it's much, much more easy to find that motivation. So here's what I'd love you to do today. I want you to take a moment and reflect on this question. What's the one thing you can focus on today that will make everything else easier and that will have a flow-on effect for you? And remember, when you get clear on what's important to you, you stop relying on motivation to show up, because you begin to create momentum with the newfound clarity that you have. And you stop waiting for the right feeling to show up, and you do what matters most to you. Clarity is the most powerful tool in a high-performance tool bank. And you have this in your toolkit. It's what separates the dreamers from the doers. And when you start using it, you'll realize just how much momentum you can create, even on those days where motivation is nowhere to be found. So thanks for listening and hanging out with me today. And remember, you are in control. And if this episode resonated, share it with someone who you feel may need this at this time. And don't forget to check out and join my free online community, where you can access latest content, tips, tools, and resources that will move you forward faster in a way that feels good. So until next time, live a successful, purposeful, and fully charged life every day. Your coach, Belle.